Our world has over 7.9 billion people. In order to at least try to save everyone from the Wuhan virus, we must vaccinate at least 70% of the world's population. That's 5.53 billion people. Say they all need 2 doses of vaccines each. So the world immediately needs 11.06 billion doses of vaccine. Do we have them? No, we don't. Pharma companies say they'll need at least 3 years to make 11 billion doses, and 3 years is what we don't have. The Wuhan virus has already killed nearly 3 million people. As we speak, a second wave is sweeping many parts of the world. Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. The virus is mutating, it is becoming more dangerous and spreading faster. We need vaccines and we need them now. But where are these vaccines? As of March 2021, 8.6 billion doses had been ordered globally. Of these, 6 billion doses had been ordered by rich countries. They have only 20% of the world's population, but more than 50% of the world's vaccines. What about the poorer nations? They have 80% of the global population, but access to just 1/3 of the available vaccines. More than 85 poor countries won't have widespread access to vaccine before 2023. You may ask why, and I'll show you this map. This is where Wuhan virus vaccines makers are. Pfizer is an American company, so is Moderna. AstraZeneca is a British firm. The Gamaleya Research Institute that developed the Sputnik V vaccine is in Russia. Johnson & Johnson is a Dutch company. Sinovac is Chinese. The developers of BBIBP Corvi are again in China. Epivac Corona was made in Russia. Casino Biologics is in China, and the makers of Covaxin, that's Bharat Biotech ICMR, are in India. Now look at this map again. Not a single vaccine maker in the entire continent of Africa. Not one in Latin America. You see, it's the rich and middle-income countries that have the expertise, the equipment and the funding to develop a vaccine. The world's first vaccine was developed in a rich nation. I'm talking about the smallpox vaccine. It was developed by English physician Edward Jenner. The year was 1796. It's 2021 now. What the world needs is to ensure that vaccines developed in these countries reach all the other countries. A handful of manufacturing facilities and limited supply chains will not be able to do this job. So why aren't more factories making vaccines? Because they can't. Vaccines are locked by patents. Until major pharma companies waive off patents, we cannot amplify production. What's a patent? It's a form of intellectual property right, what's known as IPR. A patent gives inventors a 20-year monopoly over what they have invented/created. Now, during these 20 years, the patent holders have the exclusive right to manufacture and sell their invention. I'll give you an example. Only Moderna can manufacture and sell its vaccines. The same for Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Sputnik V, and so on. Why do they have patents? Because creating a vaccine, its research and its development involves a lot of cost. So with a patent, you recover that cost. That product is your exclusive property. This is a way to incentivize future research and innovation. Now, what if another company wants to manufacture Moderna's vaccine? There are 2 options. Number one, the company would have to get a license from Moderna. This involves a cost, usually a 25% royalty, meaning you have to pay a percentage of your profit to Moderna. Now, pharma royalties are usually higher than other sectors. So option number 1 includes a lot of cost. Option number 2 includes temporary waiving of patents, meaning for a brief period, big vaccine makers allow other factories, other companies to use their formula for free. Other companies are allowed to produce vaccines without paying a royalty. Can this be done? Yes, it can, but pharma companies have to agree for this, and as of now, they haven't. I'll give you an example. Moderna's chief executive recently told European lawmakers that the company is not being able to find partners who have the right technology to manufacture vaccines. They don't have the equipment, he said. There is no capacity. Well, critics say it's just an excuse. The problem is not with capacity, but with cash. The pharma giants stand to make billions of dollars by selling vaccines. If they allow others to manufacture the jabs, they will not get all of that money. The World Health Organization created a technology pool in 2020. It's called the COVID-19 Technology Access Pool, or CTAP. The idea was to encourage countries to share vaccine recipes, especially with poorer countries. India, the Netherlands, Norway, and more than 30 other countries signed up for this. But Pfizer dismissed the collaboration by calling it nonsense, even dangerous. Its home country, the United States, echoed similar sentiments. As early as May 2020, when the world did not even have a Wuhan virus vaccine, the United States opposed the idea of patent pooling. In May 2020, Pakistan, Ghana and South Africa called for a people's vaccine, one that could be quickly manufactured and given for free. They urged the World Health Organization to treat vaccine as a global public good. The Trump administration blocked that move. Apparently, equitable access to vaccines would send, quote-unquote, the wrong message to innovators. In the months that followed, the United States hoarded vaccines. So did the other rich countries. In October 2020, India and South Africa knocked on the doors of the World Trade Organization. They proposed that patents for life-saving vaccines be waived. This is the proposal. It says the waiver be considered for all products needed to fight the Wuhan virus. And it says this is only temporary and that it would extend to all members of the World Trade Organization. This proposal was submitted on the 2nd of October 2020. 13 days later, UNAID supported it. 2 days later, the WHO's chief, Dr. Tedros, supported it. And then the momentum was quashed. By who? Rich nations. The European Union dismisses concerns that IPRs are a barrier to Wuhan virus medicines and technologies. This hyper-nationalism is helping no one. Let me tell you why. Number one, patents were not meant for emergencies. They're meant to check competition. The pandemic is time for collaboration. Waiving patents will save lives. It's time to put people before profit. Reason number two, keeping life-saving vaccines away from the poorer countries will boomerang. The virus will mutate and find a way to cross borders, and that mutated virus will not be susceptible to the vaccine that you have taken. Reason number three, clinging on to patents is self-defeating for rich nations. As long as the virus continues to force lockdowns around the world, the global economy will not be able to kickstart. According to current IMF estimates, the pandemic has already set the world back by $23 trillion in lost output. More lockdowns will mean more losses. Reason number four, patents are for recovering costs, for recovering R&D costs. In this case, most pharma companies have received enormous research funding. It came from taxpayers' money. It came from billionaires donating for a greater good. Say even after this, pharma companies put in millions from their own pocket. That money has already been recovered. How? Through vaccine pre-orders. I'll give you an example. This is Pfizer's press release dated 23rd of December 2020. One country, one batch, and Pfizer makes $1.95 billion. These are the other countries where Pfizer has regulatory approval for emergency authorization. Pfizer is just an example. It's the same for other companies. Imagine the kind of money they're making. Companies need profit to sustain, and I totally understand that. But a pandemic is not the time to profit. Can firms be forced to share vaccine-related data? Yes, provided the White House takes a stand. Now, here's something not many people know. Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, Novavax, CureVac, Pfizer-BioNTech rely on a 2016 invention, one that the American government has filed a patent for. In 2019, the US government filed a lawsuit against Gilead over HIV medication. It could choose to do the same now. Alternatively, we could avoid the tug of war for vaccines and collaborate. There have been 8 discussions in the WTO on patent waiver. For passing, the proposal needs the support of 164 members. More than 100 developing countries are backing it, and India has done its part. As we speak, 85 countries, 85, have already received Made in India vaccines. They're being used to save lives. More lives can be saved if countries pool in too. Innovators will not miss out if patents are waived temporarily. But here's what we say. Don't be held back by politics. This is the biggest crisis of our lifetimes. We will only be able to overcome this when all of us are safe, not just the rich.